Hello and welcome to A News. I'm Nadia Jani. Now, there are a group of international travellers from 8 different countries who have come to Azerbaijan for a very special trip. These voyages are organised by Extreme Traveller International Congress, a private organisation that is a travel club for experienced travellers and provides its members with unique experiences. It was founded in 2009 by a man called Kolja Spori, who is the president. These travellers have come from the US, the UK, Germany, Belgium, Sweden, Austria, Ireland and Portugal. And one of them is here with me now, Mr. Oliver Kemkens. He and 8 others have been exploring Azerbaijan's Agdam, Khankendi, Lachin, Shusha and Fuzuli regions. And the goal of this trip was to promote the area and observe the ongoing restoration and construction projects. And now, I've been told that this isn't your first time coming to Azerbaijan, so welcome again. And my first question is, can you tell us, what brought you here and what did you discover on your trip?
Yeah, I mean, what brought us here was very simple. We had a very kind invitation by our sponsor here, Merat Mahmudov, who was inviting us as a group who's part of the ETIC organization, and he wanted to show us the newest development in the region, and we took it as an opportunity, and we were completely pleasantly following that. Thank you very much.
Great. And what were some of the things that you discovered while you were on your trip?
It was fantastic to see that a lot of money and investments are flowing into the regions. I mean, if you think about the connection of infrastructure to the region, also the construction projects, how they are building residential projects, but also, I mean, all the stuff around culture. That was impressive to see. And what I personally like is the idea of the landmine cleaning. That was also very interesting to see also that they are not just trying to identify landmines, taking them out, or Azerbaijan is not trying just to identify them, take them out, but also they're exploding them so that they cannot be resold. That was very nice to see. I'm very impressed by that.
Okay, so this was, I understand, a 2-day trip.
So we arrived on, I think it was Monday, and
okay.
and I think we are leaving today, tomorrow, and the day after.
Okay,
so
fine. So a full week, which has been great.
Exactly.
And was the trip what you expected when you were told about it?
I would say yes. Yes, I mean, of course, not what we saw, but from an organizational perspective, yes, it was brilliantly organized. We had great hosts. Everyone was super welcoming. We had fantastic officials in regions which were hosting us, showing us around, we could ask all questions which we wanted. That was really, really impressive to see. And I mean, I've been to Baku before in 2017, so I had an idea what Azerbaijan is like, but I have also to say we have people in the group who have been 7-8 times to Azerbaijan.
Wow.
Exactly. They have a vast experience on the country. But even for me, I think it was fantastic to see how the city and the country is developing further and further and further. I have lived in a bunch of post-Soviet countries, I have to say, and I've also traveled most of them. I can see Azerbaijan is very special. It's very special, very organized. It's very, very ambitious, and the people are very international. I appreciate that a lot. So that was really cool to see that now. Yeah.
Oh, brilliant. Well, you mentioned in an interview that you saw a lot of development, especially within Agdam.
Yeah.
And I wanted just to kind of go into that. Can you tell the audience what you saw, what kind of reconstruction there was going on?
I mean, sure. We have seen, on the one hand, a lot of residential building, right? But we have seen 2 different types of residential buildings. One for people who can just move freely at one point, but also the government that they are creating homes for people, I mean, whose ancestors lived there, so that they can move back to Agdam. And I think that is a very symbolic action what the government here is undertaking and also supporting, because also, of course, as a German citizen, we had also hardships in the past, and we, I would say, also lost territories, right? And so also in Germany, the notion of losing your home, losing your homeland, your part of your identity. We are aware of that. We are aware of that, even if this is, of course, now 80 years ago, or 80, 90 years ago when it happened. But it's still a topic, and I can imagine that identity is a very important aspect, especially for Azerbaijan, and especially for the people from the region, from Karabakh. And so that was very impressive to see that the government is respecting that and trying to give something back to the people, right? Yeah, that was great.
Definitely. And obviously you mentioned it's something that you have identified, obviously, of being of German nationality and what you've seen and how important that is for people to have that for themselves and what their ancestors brought. Were you able to speak to anyone, or was you given any extra tour around
I mean,
that?
yeah, we could speak to anyone who we wanted to, and we were. I mean, of course, there were people passing by, we were talking to them, they were interested in what we are doing then, because I assume there are not so many foreigners at the moment, especially from the West, coming to see the construction sites. And yeah, that was very nice. And I can just say that everyone was super excited, which we met, that they can move back, will move back, and everyone was super proud them also that the country is undertaking this effort.
Yeah, and these areas obviously that I mentioned earlier before are quite key within the regions. Obviously they're outside Baku, but they have such certain cultural identity and aspects. When you were visiting it, and obviously with your other fellow travellers, were they surprised or shocked by the things that they saw there?
You mean the other fellows?
Yes, with all of you guys. Anything that really stood out?
I would say, I mean, we are coming here with a group of extreme travellers. So the folks have seen a lot of, I would say, I don't want to call it conflict regions, because at the moment it's not a conflict region, hopefully will never be again. But I think most of them have seen worse, to be honest. So therefore it was a very pleasant trip. So, and I think it's good that they have not seen something where they were saying, oh wow, because these are usually the moments where they're saying, well, compared to what I've seen before, this is way more negative or so. So here it felt almost natural, and I think this is the most positive compliment we can give to the government, that the effort, I mean, if you think about it, when it ended, it's not so long time ago, but the effort to connect it, I mean, visually, to put the cities in the landscape that things look like in Baku, for example, that the streets are well maintained, tunnels are modern. This is really substantial and fundamental, and also important for us to see.
Definitely. And can you explain the group of travellers? It's called extreme travellers. Most people will think of that like you're taking risks or you're bungee jumping out of an aeroplane or anything like that. But this is a little bit different. How would you describe it?
So extreme travelers, I mean, the idea here is it's about systematic travel, right? If you compare that with regular travelers or tourists, the people who are part of our group, they're systematically trying to visit every country which has been listed in the United Nations, so 193. Plus, and there are 3 organizations, ETIC is one, there's an organization called Most Traveled People, there's the Travel Century Club. They count differently. Some are just counting autonomous regions, some are also adding specific regions in some countries, so they are subdividing countries. And so depending on the way how you count, it's something between 330, I think, and 1,500 places in the world you can travel. So they're trying to systematically approach these places. And in our group, for example, they are, I think, among the top 5 most traveled people in the world. I think there have been 2 or 3, and 2 are all constantly fighting who's number 1. And that is just fantastic, because they can compare. They can compare developments. They can compare conflict regions or regions which have been conflicted in the years before. That was really nice to see. And most of them have been several times in Azerbaijan. That is what I meant, right? So and again, age-wise, I think we ranked from something like 40 till our oldest guest was 80, and a very famous American traveler and scientist or economist who flew in from Uruguay. He was traveling almost 24 hours to just come here for our trip. So we are very delighted, and we have the businessman from Belgium who was like shifting his plans to accommodate our schedule. That was this amazing experience.
And how would you describe the places that you visited? How would you describe it to our audience?
Yeah, that is a good point. I mean, I think, first of all, you need to come here yourself to see it. I think that's very important. And if you speak to people, and if you speak to just ordinary people, right, you can feel the importance for the people of Azerbaijan. This is a very special area for sure. And this is also, again, what you can see by the effort the state puts into, right? And when talking about this, you can see that everyone is extremely proud. The area, I think itself, I mean, it's lovely, like a lot of places in Azerbaijan, but it's especially this spiritual and historical moment which makes this area so special. And I think when you come here, when you see the stance, the military stance of of the opponents, of course, and when you can also see the border and the things which happen simply also in the region, then you see how special that is and how important it was for the country. I mean, technically it was an occupied territory, right? And on the country of on the land of Azerbaijan, and so you can feel that there's something magical almost going on.
Definitely. Now, there's been a lot of press, especially with Trump being in the White House, and don't worry, we're not going to take it too political, but it's just the most in the sense of Armenia and Azerbaijan and the peace talks that's been happening, which has been helping, both sides when it comes to, kind of restoration and communication between the two. as you've seen certain areas that have been impacted by the conflict and different things, do you think that this is, the right move and the right type of thing in regards to the people there and restoration and projects happening?
I think yes. I think yes, because what should be the alternative? I think you said we don't want to be too political, but whether you like Donald Trump or not, he did a tremendous step here. What he was pushing to parties to negotiations and to settlement, and I think it's all about humans at the end, right? And he's supporting this, and I think so. He used the momentum, and he used, of course, a little bit his negotiation skills and his unconventional being to overcome a situation which was very difficult. And so I think we should give him all credit, but not also, of course, Donald Trump, but also the leaders of the states. We need to give them credit. I think he did a good job, and I think he did the right thing at the right time. Yeah, I think so.
Oh, brilliant. My last question in all of this, because obviously I'm sure it's been so much to take in and so much for you to digest, but if you had a takeaway, obviously loads of people will be listening and kind of be like, oh my gosh, these are areas that I'd also like to explore. What are the, 3 takeaway things that you think, this is what I learned, this is really substantial, that came from, Khan Candy or Lachin or Shusha, that you really liked, or, Agda, about that?
I would say that there are some more abstract takeaways, that identity is important. And identity is not necessarily something negative, because I think today when you look sometimes in the press, especially in the Western press, they are trying to color identity as something negative, but it gives you pride, it gives you self-esteem, self-confidence, and I think it can shape also perspective for yourself. I think that is what we can see here. Then I think what is the second point, what is important is that you should not forget simply. Yeah, even if there was a period where the regions have been occupied, still people don't forget. They don't forget, and you somehow need to try at least to cope with that. And the third point is that our main host in the region was the University of Karabakh, right? And I think what we have seen there was fantastic. A new university, new facilities, extremely well-equipped facilities, young and very curious students. And I wish for the university, and that is also not only a takeaway, but also like a perspective I would like to give to the region and to the people of Azerbaijan is, use the very special place where Karabakh University is located, and think about creating a center for conflict resolution on international scale, also with international experts, also potentially with past foes, which can be future friends, right? And the other thing is that systematic travel is also a very interesting approach, because here we can see again, we are going to places where we don't necessarily trust the media. I'm sorry to say that here, but this is part of it, because every country and every media concept is playing their own narrative, right? And in the West, unfortunately, not every country is being portrayed in the right way. And so the takeaway is that, go to places and look with your own eyes and speak with people and see what's happening, and then you will get potentially a little bit closer to the truth. There's a good saying, history would be something fantastic if it would be only true. And I think that is true.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Kempkins. That's been great, and I'm sure anyone who's been watching is definitely wanting to explore more of the area of parts of Azerbaijan. This has been a special for you to watch and join me today, and always welcome to seeing me and further presenters talk about the different things going on in Azerbaijan. So stay tuned to A News.